Stakeholders have stakes in and interact with our organization, brand, and offerings at touchpoints along their journeys with us. For example, our employees have an interest in our organization. Do they see us as conducting business with integrity? And our brand and reputation. When they see our advertisements, do they perceive them as stodgy or cool? And our offerings, when they use them, are they reliable or not so much? Organizational touchpoints are those that lie outside of more direct interactions with our brand, such as in Super Bowl ads, and our offerings like using our product. What differentiates them from other touchpoints is that the primary takeaway from the interaction is a change in perception of our organization. Note that boundaries among organization, brand, and offering touchpoints are liminal. That is, touchpoints often include interactions with some part of all of them. However, hard as it might be to separate them out, we must still work to get better perception and reality for each. Here we see on the left a list of the many organizational touchpoints stakeholders have with our organization. What this should tell you is that an overfocus on excellence on your brand and reputation and the quality of your offerings will leave you exposed to issues in this area. Think about it. Have you ever worked with a company whose product was great, but their billing system and customer service was a nightmare? Did you stick with them, or did you leave in a jiffy when a good alternative presented itself? Along with their journeys with us, our stakeholders also encounter and interact with our brand. For example, viewing our physical and online advertisements, interacting with our people at a conference, experience the look and feel of our brochures, and so on. These are brand touchpoints because while they may involve other elements, the main takeaway is a change in perception of our brand. Here we see a list of brand touchpoints. It's by no means meant to be complete or timeless, but it should give you a flavor of what brand touchpoints are and how they compare to organizational and offering touchpoints. A brand touchpoint occurs anytime a stakeholder interacts with our brand. To improve them, we identify and work to better stage key touchpoints that are not on brand. Along their journey with us, stakeholders also encounter and interact with our offerings, that is, our products and services. Such touchpoints we classify as offering touchpoints because while there may be other elements involved, the primary takeaway is a change in perception of our products and services. Here we see a list of offering touchpoints, which should give you a flavor for what they are and how they compare to organizational and brand touchpoints. An offering touchpoint occurs anytime a person or organization in the marketplace or market space interacts with our products and services. This is the domain of UX, or the user experience. So, for example, if we're a bank, one touch point is using our ATM, and another online banking, and another walking into a branch for a transaction. How easy or hard is it to do any of this? That's the crux of offering touch points. Our organization, brand, and offerings each consist of the three things shown here: their configuration, what they're made up of, both physical and virtual elements, and their arrangements and settings. Next, their functionality or features, including what telemetry we stood up for direction and control in our management system. And finally, their qualities, things like how available they are, what performance levels they have, and so on. Here at the bottom, you see the ingredients for our configurations, our capabilities and resources. Configurations consist of items in these categories plus their arrangements and settings. So, for example, for an IT-led offering, that is, an offering primarily represented by technology versus humans, like Office 365 or G Suite, the configuration consists of the technology, infrastructure, platform, software, and associated settings and structure, but also the information, workflows, people, and non-IT infrastructure and capital that go into it. Here we see that organizations, brands, and offerings fall on a continuum of levels of human and IT involvement. Based on where they fall on it, we can characterize them as human or IT-led. For example, a haircut is clearly human-led, and G Suite is IT-led. Human-led aspects of entities are those driven by humans, possibly assisted by IT. For example, offerings like moves, adds, and changes to an employee's furniture or devices. Humans are on the front end, and IT assists their efforts. IT-led offerings are driven by IT, possibly assisted by humans on the back end. For example, Office 365 or G Suite. Here's another IT-led offering example, Microsoft Word. Notice how its parts or configurations are distinct from its functionality or features and its qualities or characteristics. Each contributes, or takes away from, its value, and as such, each must be recognized and systematically managed. The key question is, do each of these three support stakeholders' jobs to be done and compare well to alternative stakeholders like users may have? Here we see a continuum running from goods to IT-led offerings. Goods are different in nature from services. Like a candy bar is different from a haircut, and a Bluetooth speaker is different from Office 365. Generally, goods are more tangible, storable, separable, and come in some sort of standard format. On the other end of the spectrum, IT services tend to be delivered and consumed in the same moment. For example, all value is delivered through their use. They are intangible, perishable, inseparable. Like goods, they're often standardized in quality, though. Today, products are more service-like, and some services have product characteristics. It might be better to just call them servucks or processes, but all kidding aside, that's what we've got on our hands today. That piece of software running on your desktop. It's a product, but now you download it digitally. You get updates, you get new features delivered in streams, you pay for it as a subscription. It's gotten kind of servicey. And even that chair you buy, well, it's a product, but the videos you get on how to assemble it, the online reference and design guides and downloadable manual are just as much of that product as the chair itself. So is it a product? We refer to products and services as offerings in Agile Service Management just to keep things simple. Now let's talk about the configuration of organizations' brand and offerings. It's what makes them up, their components, arrangements, and settings. You can think of these parts as the inherent properties of an organization or a brand or an offering, which of course differs, just like chairs, where one type is made of a bag filled with beans, one has 4 wooden legs and a plastic seat, and another a single central leg and wheel and pneumatic mechanism, and so on. They're all chairs with different configurations, different parts, and different arrangements. Here we see just some of the component parts of an organization's configuration. Just like you can have a beanbag chair, a side chair, or a stool, they're all chairs. Organizations may have many different parts and arrangements as to how they're configured, yet they're all still organizations. Here we see some components of a brand. For example, your definition is who you are, what you offer, and to whom. Your brand identity includes things like your logo, graphics, styles of colors, fonts, and so on. Your brand messaging includes your tagline, positioning statement, brand promise statement, key messages, and marketing copy. These are the things that make up a brand, its parts and how they're configured and arranged. An offering has parts like those shown here, which will vary based on the offering since they range from goods to human to IT-led in nature. IT-led offerings feature the first 3 things shown here prominently: software, platforms, and infrastructure components. They include people, too, in a role behind the IT, people who administer and enhance and support the offering. Consider Office 365. It certainly has all the components listed here, with people in the back end in many roles. Human-led offerings consist more prominently of the things listed under the People section here. Consider a consulting firm's assessment offering. The things shown under People here are the primary visible components that users see, assisted by IT components shown on the left.